Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today, we're joined by Chi, an entrepreneur, educator, and the founder of GameFlo, to talk about the highs, the lows, the lesson of building a game business from the ground up. From early prototype to retail plan to future digital version, Chi will share what it takes to really create meaningful games and connect with communities and keep going when things doesn't go as planned. So thank you so much for being on our show today.
Great to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. What sparked it, the idea of starting your own companies and creating this game that you currently have?
For sure. For me, I am really big on innovation and trying to create new things. So for me, I've in the past built around sports technology, and I've always seen that. Well, many times when I talk to young people and talked about sports, there's an instant connection, right? And
Hmm.
as someone who's worked in different fields in finance and sports technology, I also recognize that there are many skills and jobs which people need today. And I think many of those skills and jobs seem very far away for people. It
Hmm.
seems so hard and difficult. But
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not that hard. It's all about problem solving, decision making, knowing how to break down a problem. And so
Hmm.
for me, it was more about how can I create a company where I can teach people really important skills and also make that for them enjoyable and fun.
I see. So when you first building your the game, like where did the idea came from? I know it's like a basketball theme game, and also while
Hmm.
you're explaining, if you can show the game a little bit and kind of explain about
Yeah,
the concept of the game. So.
for sure. So our first game is called Pickup Basketball, and I grew up in New York City, right? In New York, you'll go outside and you'll play with people, you play basketball, and
Mhm.
you meet different people each time you play. And so for me, the idea of having play be a space to connect with people from different walks of life and learn about them was
Mhm.
really important. And so for us, we took time and thought about how we can make really diverse and unique characters. But
Mhm.
then too, for me, my knowledge from math and data and numbers came from being a big sports fan, right?
Mm.
My interest in baseball and basketball helped me practice skills around addition, right? Around how to predict outcomes. And so
Mhm.
for me, once again, the idea of a sports game was something which I knew well. And so I said,
Mhm.
you know what? For my first game, let me build something which I would play myself and enjoy. I'm a
Yeah.
big basketball fan, so I figured let's start with basketball and see how this concept of building a game which can connect people and teach them skills and still
Mhm.
be culturally relevant. How can we make this happen? And so
Mm.
basketball was really our first try at it.
I see. And how much of the play testing were you doing as far as figuring out the right balance? And I know there's a lot of different characters in your game as well. Trying to figure out what does each character do and how does they kind of balance out with each other.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, for us, we began play testing in 2018,
Oh.
and a lot of our play testing was saying, from a conceptual standpoint, what kind of game do you want to create, and what games out there are
Hmm.
similar, right? And so for us, we did not want to have a game where people had to buy expansion packs over and over again and have to have parents or the consumer spend more
Mm.
money, right? So it's buy one pack and you're good for life.
I
Um,
see.
and so once we had that idea in mind, we then said, okay, how can we now build a basketball game that still has a basketball core, but isn't exactly like real basketball, which is very tough, right? Because people think
Yeah.
basketball, I think score 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, dribble, right, shoot, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
we recognize that it just had to be a good card game. And so
Mhm.
that's where we kind of spent time in 2018. Began trying out small concepts with
Mhm.
different young people. So we went to Boys and Girls Clubs, we went to after school programs, we went to
Okay.
math classes, and really
Okay.
got to speak with young people about our idea around making math more fun, around making these things more fun, and then
Mhm.
ask them as well what things they struggle with in math class, right? I think
Mhm.
the biggest takeaway was that it was more about confidence. People just had
Mm.
a tough time with confidence. So I think the more we got to have people play the game and see that they were growing more confident playing the game, the more we thought we would go in the right direction.
I see, I see, I see. And while you're explaining that, and I think it will be beneficial for the listeners for you to explain the rule of the game because that's quite a little bit of the math involved for the
Yeah,
rule as
yeah,
well. So,
for sure. The game is a game of strategy and chance. And so, really, your goal is to take the different plays in the game and build your team. And so you start with three cards each, and then throughout the game, you take your turn by either trying to score points against one of your opponents or
mhm,
by adding a card to your team from the deck. That's the general
mhm,
gameplay. And scoring is based on the players have different attributes, like an offense number and a defense number. And so you score points based on having a higher offense than your opponent's defense, right? So let's
mhm,
say I have an offense of 9 against your defense of 6. I will
mhm,
get 3 points for making my shot. So that's where the math is involved. There's also math involved in terms of probability because it's really all based around dice rolling. And so
mhm,
your chance to make or miss is based on a set probability that your card has. And so let's say my card has a higher chance to make the shot, right? That's still all chance. I could still miss the shot because of the dice. And so for us, it's cool
mhm.
in that you can have a strategy around how you build your team, but it still comes down to the dice and that element of luck to make sure the game isn't too overpowering.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And I also have like a screenshot of the game here for those of you
Yeah,
that's actually watching or will be interested to learn about more how the game look like. We are also showing quick kind of a screenshot of how the card look like. Just like what you're explaining, each of the card have different abilities, and you also have different. If you can explain all the different number that is on the card.
for sure. So once again, right, the game is something where it's about decision making and how you process information. So each card has information that's very helpful, right? The card has a name, a player name, and then the cards have a value, that big bold number at the bottom left. And
Hmm.
value just tells you how good the card is compared to the rest of the deck. And so the value goes from 1 to 12, with a 12 being the best in the game and a 1 being not so great. So if you get confused at any point, just look at the value to tell you how good your card is. And
Hmm.
then at the upper right is the offense and defense score. So like I said, um, when it comes down to scoring points, it's about the difference between your offense and your opponent's defense.
Hmm.
And then the numbers and circles are your shot zones. And that's
Hmm.
what you have to roll with two dice to make the shot. And so, if,
Hmm.
for example, Tina Bell rolled a 4, so she rolled a 2 and a 2, a 3 and a 1,
Hmm.
she makes a shot. And so there's addition involved in adding up the dice roll and seeing if what you rolled matches your shot zones. And so
Hmm.
um, the math is involved in the game, but still, once again, it's about looking at your player's powers and abilities, right, which are down below that text there, and knowing how to use the different powers to accomplish the goal of one scoring points, stopping your opponent, and eventually winning the game. So the more you play, the more you understand how to use your cards correctly. But it's fundamentally a game of figuring out how many points you scored or if you made or missed a shot.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation as well. And let me switch back here. So, I guess what were some of the initial challenges that as you can build up this company from the ground up uh, that you were not expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for us, like I said, we began in 2018, And as we were building, we got hit by COVID. And so I think
Oh, okay.
that was definitely a case of us understanding
Mhm.
that things don't always go as planned. But I
Yeah.
think for us during that year of COVID, we got to spend way more time working on character design and really
Oh, okay.
invested into making all these characters really come to life. So that
I
was something
see.
that was a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
But I think also a challenge has been um, knowing how to reach our audience, right? So
Mm.
there's so many games out there. There's
Yeah.
really so many good games, there's so many bad games out there. So I think the consumer sometimes is overwhelmed by what's being
Yeah.
tossed at them.
Hmm.
I think for us, because we are a sports themed game, we stand out from the crowd. There are not that many sports themed games out there. So I think for us,
Mm.
we've definitely leaned into that, saying, okay, if your child, if your uncle, if your niece, if your spouse is a basketball fan and likes playing cards, they
Hmm.
will love playing pickup basketball card games. I think that's helped us stand out a bit more. But early on, right, everyone is trying to talk to these buyers and get into these retail spots that it's very overwhelming to have that much competition. But you learn how to stand out. Yeah.
I see, I see, I see. And based on your experience, what kind of marketing has been working well for the brand for it to gain more awareness and also more also try to reach out to more potential customers?
Yeah, I believe it's really about going out there
Mhm.
and showing people the game and also playing with them. And so I mentioned early on in playtesting, we spent lots of time with boys and girls clubs, YMCA's, after school programs. And I think
Yeah.
um, for me, when I go into those spaces and play the game, right, the kids see or play the game and enjoy the game and tell their parents that they played this awesome game in after school program called pickup. They should buy it, right? And then the teacher says, "Hey, parents, this game was in our program this past week, and your kids loved it." So I think for us, we have found ways to create champions and advocates for pickup because we have gone into community groups, right? And we've said we want to help out. We want to help you guys engage young people and help them play and be free, but still help them learn important skills, right? Skills which it could
Hmm.
be AI, it could be who knows what, but no matter what industry or what discipline, you always have to know how to think in a critical way and make decisions, right? So I think
Yeah.
um, for us going out there and talking to people and having them play the game, and from that point being our mouthpiece has been really, really helpful.
Hmm.
We used a program last year around the holiday break called Trizon,
Oh,
where
okay.
essentially we got to have about 70 different micro influencers
Hmm.
host game nights with our game and have their friends and family come play pickup.
Oh,
And
whoa.
so
Okay, nice. That
yeah, it's
sounds
really
like a
good
good
program
campaign.
because for us, we are um, based in New York and also North Carolina. So
Yeah.
how do we reach someone who might be in Indiana or Wyoming, right? And so
Yeah.
programs like that where we can reach a wider set of people and have them play the game have really been helpful.
I see. I see. Are those pay influencer or what was the negotiation with those
Yeah,
influencers?
so essentially you pay the company, and then the company goes out there and finds influencers and from that point gets in the game. And so
Oh,
the
okay.
influencers oftentimes just get a bunch of free games, which they enjoy and get to host
Yeah,
game nights.
I see.
And there's this value in that, but really you work through the group called Trizon to organize the different play events.
Do they specialize in tabletop game or
They
it's
sure
just
do.
what?
They sure do. Yep.
Oh, they specialize in that.
Hmm.
Okay, very
And
interesting.
we heard about Trizon from really a big game company that talked about how from their marketing efforts and marketing spend, the the most return on investment has been them using Trizon. And so I think for us, right, we like to learn from what people are doing and copy their marketing spend. And that's
Mhm.
something which people have really talked about being a very impactful way to spend money. That's it can lead to reviews online, right? Lead to people making videos on social media, hopefully lead to more sales.
Oh, okay, okay. Very interesting concept. I think I might have talked to their CEO in the past.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I might talk to them before. So it's
Yeah,
Tryazon. That's the
exactly.
company.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I did. I definitely talked to them before. So
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds familiar. So thank you so much for mentioning that.
Yeah.
And also, like throughout your journey, what are some of the feedback, especially from the kids that have kind of shaped the product over times?
Yeah, I mean it's great. I think for me, we were very intentional not to call a mat game. That because even from our play testing, we found that language is very important. And when young people hear the word mat game or mat or this and that, they say, "Oh my God, this is school. I don't want to be in school. I just left school." They get very defensive when we bring up the word mat. But I think
Mm.
the people who have played the game have said this game is fun. I see that there's math involved, but I don't mind it because the math just helps you accomplish your goals, and
Yeah.
it's within the game in a very seamless way. So I think hearing young people say that, yes, I know I'm doing math, but I actually enjoy this has been
Mhm.
really the best testimony you can possibly get. And I think also people love the fact that, like I said, we have diverse characters, right? And many
Yeah.
times people don't see themselves in games. And so I think having characters where folks can say, okay, this kind of looks like me. It looks like my dad, looks like my uncle, right? I think
Hmm.
that's something which has gone a long way towards trying to build a community of people who appreciate our mission, but also appreciate the fact that we're very intentional about things which we put out there as a game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think one of the other like the important decision that we have in the industry, especially for like designer or entrepreneur, is going the route of either self-publishing or try to license your game or
Yeah,
product to a bigger company. How do you went through that process, and what make you decide to go with the self-publishing route instead of licensing your product to a bigger publisher?
for sure. I mean, I believe in myself. It comes down to that. I think when it comes down to trying to get the game out there and doing what it takes to get it out there, I think I
Hmm.
can do it. I think our team can do it. So my approach is that let's try it first. If it
Hmm.
doesn't work out, we can always go a different option, right? And have someone else take the game and license it. But I think for now, we just felt like as a new game company, let's go through this process one time, right? From start to finish of idea, play testing, right? Design, trying to find a manufacturer, doing the box design, all the things that go into making a game. Let's understand that and say, okay, in the future, when
Yeah.
we make future games, we can understand the pros and cons of going the license route. So I think for us, it was more about this. You learn by doing, and so we felt like we could learn a lot by having this first game be in house.
I see, I see, I see. Yeah, I think it's just like running your own business. And think sometimes people is kind of a little bit afraid of how many different things that could be get
Yeah,
involved. But it's always good to kind of learn it yourself. Even if you
exactly.
want to license it in the future, at least you know what does it actually take for the game to be on the shelf of some store. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I've seen people who will spend crazy amounts of money and pay someone to do work for them and have no idea what that work entails. So if I'm going to charge you $50,000 to do a project, I don't know what that money is going towards.
yeah.
You could be scamming me, right, for that $50,000. So
Yeah.
if I know this is actually $5,000 worth of work, you're trying to charge
Mhm.
me 50,000. That makes no sense. So therefore, no,
Yeah.
thank you, right? So I think once again, from a business standpoint, there's definitely a value in knowing how things are built from that point. Figure out how you want to outsource that going forward.
For sure, that's definitely a very important aspect as well. So, what are you planning in the horizon? What is the plan for the next few years for the company?
Yeah, so our plan is to continue to make sports themed games. And so we've done pickup basketball, and we're going to release pickup soccer or pickup football based on
Mhm.
where you're from. That will come out next year to
Mhm.
align with the World Cup being in North America next year. So the World Cup
Oh, okay,
is
okay,
coming
okay.
to the US, Mexico, and
Yeah,
Canada next summer. And so, in terms of
yeah,
attention and press, and everyone looking up FIFA Soccer World Cup, this and that, I think for
yeah.
us, we want to ride that momentum and have our second
Okay.
title come out. And then we're
Mhm.
also working on making pickup basketball into a digital game. And so folks can
Mm.
connect and play across borders and state lines and countries, right, and still enjoy the game. And also, I think from a learning standpoint,
Mhm.
we think people can learn the game easier online, if not point also play tabletop. And so, trying to create a way to educate folks on how to play our game is something which we're always thinking about. And so I think having a digital game as a tool towards that is very, very vital, especially as we work with different people um, who care about how can we create more engaging screen time and more productive screen time, right? We're always talking about how tabletop is a way to unplug and go off the screen, but
Yeah,
this is 2025, right? We can't avoid people being on screens. So
yeah.
how do we make sure that there are productive screen time options for people to use and play, especially young kids to use and play?
I see. For that, are you going to use your own platform or use some existing platform out there like board game? I know there's board game arena that's pretty big. There's tabletop simulator as well. Like, are you going to use
Yeah,
one of those, or what is the direction?
we are making our own platform. So it has been
Oh, okay.
years in the planning. And so in the past, we actually used Tabletop Simulator. I'm actually
Yeah.
doing COVID and we got some people play a game online, but we are making our own game, own platform. It will be both in iOS and also in Android.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a lot of investment instead of
Oh,
using
yeah.
an existing platform. I guess
Oh,
what
yeah.
was the business like reasoning behind that instead of using an existing platform?
Yeah, because for us, this is just the base, the foundation for what we're trying to build. So I think for us, knowing that we want to build a lot on top of this base, we felt like having control of a platform made
Oh,
more sense
I see.
as we add in things over time and add in features, which we think will make our game and platform stand out. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. What does the timeline for the digital version look like?
Yeah, so we'll have our first draft, first MVP out in end of July, and we hope to have a version out on the App Store by the end of hopefully August, September,
Oh,
kind
it's
of based
coming up
on
soon.
it's
Okay,
coming
okay,
up soon,
okay.
man.
Yeah.
It's been a great process, but and we're very lucky to have some good people involved. But we want to make sure we test, and get feedback, and
Yeah.
keep on working on things. And if not, point to a much more public release um,
Mm.
by the end of this year.
I see, I see, I see. Thank you for sharing that. I think
Yeah.
not a lot of people is willing to even attempt that. That sounds
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of work and not just time involved, but a lot of resource that's involved to turn the tabletop games into a digital version, and also with your own platform,
Yeah, yeah.
which is definitely not an easy project to do. So yeah, definitely kudos for you for doing that, and looking forward to see the digital version here in a
Thank you.
few months.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So, and if looking back, as far as like launching all the different games, and I know you have a few other games in mind, how do you usually balance creativities with like the reality of running a business?
Yeah, yeah, it's an excellent question. I think for me, as someone who has in the past run different companies, I am really big on let's use what we have in front of us and make the most of it, right? And so I think
Mhm.
uh, we have we have all kinds of ideas and things which we want to build, but if we don't have the things to build them right now, we can't do that, right? So I
Yeah,
mentioned the digital game. We were trying to build that years ago, but we don't have the resources to build that quite yet, right? So
I
I think
see, I
it's
see.
more about being patient and being real about what we can do. Because if you take a big swing, right, or take a big risk, and doesn't work out, that could really destroy your business, right? And so for
Mm,
us, we definitely try to have our ideas, which you have in mind, but also recognize that from a company standpoint, we can't do it all, right? We can't do every single thing which we want to do. Let's do a few things really, really well. As time goes on, we can kind of expand and do more. So
mhm.
I think it's just being real about things and also recognizing that um, we can get things done in the future and that it's not all about having things be done right now.
I see. I see. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as we're kind of wrapping up today's interview, looking back, if you have to just share one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys and game industry, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I look back to our earliest prototypes when we
Mhm.
first began, and it was as simple as us going into Google, grabbing screenshots of basketball players,
Mhm.
having printouts, taking a Sharpie and then writing down numbers on the card, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
getting a
yeah.
card sleeve and putting
Okay.
that paper into a card sleeve, right? And from that
Yeah.
point, we would get feedback and erase things out, write these numbers right, and just like once again, just like it's okay to start very, very raw and simple, right? Just
Yeah.
start things out, right, and build and recognize that your first draft is always going to be your worst draft, right? You get better
Yeah.
after each draft you do, and so just iterate and iterate. But you have to start someplace. So it's fine to start ugly and start things in a very, very raw and and in a way in which you would not want to have people see it,
Hmm.
but go out there and build it. And then if it doesn't work out, you don't spend too much money or waste too much time.
Hmm.
I think sometimes people try to make a logo and a website and do all these different things before they actually figure out like what is our product, what are we building, and what's the
Hmm.
value here, right? And I think um, I'm also a professor of business at UNC. I always talk about how you need to figure out people's pain point and problem and how you can solve
Hmm.
that problem. And so
Yeah.
for us, we recognize that lots of parents are worried about kids on their screens. Lots of kids struggle with confidence in math, right? So how do we solve that pain point with a very
Hmm.
good product, right? And so we built based on that pain point. And so you can start with asking people questions, getting feedback,
Hmm.
and then go from there. But at least start and start very simple and take time and build.
I see. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of our listener that would love to learn a little bit more about you and your company, where is the best place for people to find you online?
For sure. Our website is www.gameflow, GAMEFLO .io. That's our website. You can watch our videos, learn more about our company, our mission,
Hmm.
and definitely check out our social media sites as well. We are really big on Instagram and TikTok, so definitely come
Hmm.
um, on those platforms too.
I see. Okay. Thank you. We'll definitely include that in the show note. And thank you so much again for your time today to share your story, your journey, and your background behind your businesses and the wonderful product that you're building within the industry.
Thank you, Justin. It's my pleasure, and this is really great to um, talk to you and connect, and hopefully we'll do it again sometime soon.
Of course. And for our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed the conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource tips and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag #ToyBusinessUnbox. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joy to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unbox podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.